Hello friends, I am Arpit and I am here with today's analysis. Today is 18th of October and we are going to deal with three very important topics which are in news. First is that Mount Adams is going to erupt after years of dormancy, and these are thousands of years of dormancy. Last eruption was during the Stone Age. This Mount Adams is located in USA. It is the largest volcano in Washington. Now, why the scientists are predicting that it can erupt, it can become active because of the increased amount of seismic activity in that region. Although there is green, I would say, symbol or green status to this, means as of now everything is safe. But with the increased seismic activities, this can become active again. Next is India becomes the third largest supplier of health and nutrition support to Unicef. Now, this is some good news for us. In fact, we are truly living up to one earth, one family, one future. And we are there to be called as the pharmaceutical capital of the world, even though we are not the world's largest producer of pharmaceutical products. But yes, India has supplied around 50% of the vaccines last year to the world. This is remarkable. Generic medicines, India has supplied a lot. And most importantly, most of these support has gone to the global south. So, India is becoming a champion in the healthcare domain. But we hope and pray to God that these kind of things are reflected or these positive outcomes are reflected domestically as well. Next is Inter-Parliamentary Union. This is a global body which comprises of the parliamentary or the parliamentarians of various countries. There are 180 members of this grouping, and Mr. Om Birla, the Speaker of the Lok Sabha, represented India in this particular meeting. He highlighted various achievements as well as concerns in front of India's parliament right now. One among them were climate change and global warming, what we have done for that. But the concerns were rising misuse of technologies like AI, which we need to tackle. And then we'll be looking into the MCQs based on these topics. Now, the first topic is Mount Adams going to erupt after years of dormancy? So, when I talk about years, it is thousands of years. So, this is the largest volcano in Washington state, and it has recently exhibited increase in seismic activity after being dormant for thousands of years. And due to this increase in seismic activity, scientists are predicting that this volcano can become active again after thousands of years of dormancy. Now, current situation, the seismic activity, the United States Geological Survey has detected a surge in seismic events at Mount Adams, prompting heightened monitoring efforts. Current alert level, USGS has currently maintained the volcano's warning level and current code to green or normal, indicating no immediate danger to the public. But monitoring enhancements have to be there. We need to keep watching, looking at whatever activity is happening. This is what the scientists are saying. The agency is establishing temporary seismic stations around the volcano to improve the detection of smaller earthquakes and gain insights into the causes of recent seismic activity. USGS said that the findings will dictate any necessary additional actions to be taken. Now, about Mount Adams. This largely we can call it an active volcano because there is threat of being active again. Dormant volcanoes are where there are no threats of being active again. So its location is there in the USA, Washington state, and it is a stratovolcano. What is a stratovolcano? We will see. Physical characteristics: 12,277 feet high it is, spanning 18 miles wide. It is the largest active volcano in Washington, surpassing Mount Rainier by volume. Volcanic field, it is part of the Mount Adams volcanic field, which covers 1250 square kilometers and includes over 120 volcanoes. Glaciers, mountain supports over 10 active glaciers that are crucial for hydrology of the surrounding ecosystem. So there are glaciers also over there. So we could see it in the image as well. And last eruption occurred between 3800 and 7600 years ago during the Stone Age. So as I said, thousands of years ago, this last eruption was there. Now, historical context of this particular active volcano. Research shows that Mount Adams has experienced this 4 lava flows in the last 12,000 years. Lava is that, molten basalt or rock which comes from the beneath and flows down. So, 4 lava flows event in the last 12,000 years within a few miles of the volcano. Previous activity primarily involved short distance lava flows rather than explosive eruptions. Lahar risk. So, what is Lahar? We need to understand what is Lahar. So, for understanding Lahar, we should first revisit the basics of this particular volcano. Glaciers are there. It has erupted in the past. Now we will be able to understand what Lahar is. The greatest threat to nearby communities come from Lahars. Lahars are muddy flows of rock. Rock will obviously flow down. Ash and ice that can occur during both eruptive and non-eruptive phases. Historical lahars have traveled significant distances with notable flows occurring approximately 6,300 years ago. So lahar flow was there around 300 years ago, 17th century, 18th century. But lahar flows can be during non-eruptive phase also, means non-active phase also. So this is what we need to understand over here. So last activeness or last eruption was somewhere around 3,800 to 7,600 years ago. But lahar flow last was witnessed 300 years ago. So this is what we need to know. Geological concerns. Hydrothermal weakness is there. Substantial amounts of hydrothermally weakened rock concealed beneath the ice covered peak. So hydrothermally weakened rock means those rocks which are, floating kind of. They're also at times referred to as breathing rocks. So they can, erupt, they can melt the ice, they can bring lahars also. Pose a risk for future landslides, which could lead to lahars spreading far from the volcano. Threat classification. Although Mount Adams is classified as a high threat volcano due to potential for volcanic activity, this classification is based on possible activity rather than immediate risk to the population. It is classified as a high risk volcano, but it depends on its past, I would say, characteristics. Now, since we know that this Mount Adams is a stratovolcano, so we should know what stratovolcanoes are. Strato means strato comes from the word strata means layer. Okay. Now, stratovolcanoes or composite volcanoes are tall, steep, cone-shaped formations built from successive layers of ash and lava. So, as the name suggests, strato, it comes from the word strata, which means layer. So, one layer erupts, it solidifies. Above that, another layer comes, it solidifies. Above that, another layer comes, it solidifies. That is why the height is also there, the steepness is there, and it is like a cone. They typically have higher peaks and more viscous magma composition that can lead to explosive eruptions. Tectonic context. Stratovolcanoes occur at the margins of tectonic plates where less dense continental plates override oceanic plates. If I talk about the global distribution of stratovolcanoes, so mostly these volcanoes are found in the Pacific Rim of ocean. They make up approximately 60% of the Earth's individual volcanoes. So more than half of the Earth's volcanoes are stratovolcanoes, with about 85% located around the Pacific Ocean, forming the Ring of Fire. So this is what basics we need to know about stratovolcanoes. Next is India becomes the third largest supplier of health and nutrition support to UNICEF. UNICEF, which is a specialized agency under United Nations, has testified this. And this is obviously an achievement for India. And, India is projecting itself a lot on the healthcare domain, especially after COVID-19 pandemic. India had supplied vaccines to more than 100 countries all across the world. That was phenomenal. And now, for cervical cancer, we saw during the Cancer Moonshot initiative undertaken by the Quad countries, this was done. Now, this acknowledgement by UNICEF. So, things are, going good for India. Key highlights: partnership impact. Long-standing partnership between UNICEF and Government of India has significantly contributed to advancements in child health, education, protection in the country. Financial contributions have also been there. From 2016 to 2023, Indian businesses supplied goods and services worth nearly $6 billion to UNICEF, establishing India as the third largest supplier in 2023. This includes essential items like vaccines, pharmaceuticals, and nutrition supplies, crucial for children's health globally. Now, my one concern is that if we are doing it for the world, we definitely can do it for the country. वो कहते हैं ना कि set your house in order first. So India should be looking at that as well. Actually, 33% of malnutrition children are found in India. Lack of healthcare services are prevalent in India. So we should be plugging those gaps as well. And we can do that. A political will is required. Cooperation between the center and states is utmost required. Things can fall into place. Unicef Supply Division, which has testified it, the headquarters is in Copenhagen, Denmark. It has the world's largest humanitarian warehouse, playing a critical role in supporting global child survival and development programs. Global reach, UNICEF operates in over 190 countries, focusing on rights of every child. UNICEF's mission and funding establishment, founded in 1946, UNICEF aims to assist children and young people at risk, regardless of their country's involvement in World War II. Funding model, organization is funded entirely through voluntary support from individuals and partners in government, civil society, and the private sector as well. So governments also contribute, private sector also contribute, the NGOs also contribute. So all these things are there. Awards and recognitions to UNICEF. UNICEF has received prestigious awards including the Nobel Peace Prize in 1965 and Indira Gandhi Prize from Government of India in 1989. Global initiatives, if I talk about children's rights and business principles, developed in 2012 with Save the Children and UN Global Compact. And Data Must Speak initiative aims to unlock existing data to enhance access to education and improve learning outcomes among the children globally. Next is Inter-Parliamentary Union. This is basically a grouping of the parliamentarians all across the world. And India was represented by none other than the Speaker of Lok Sabha, Mr. Om Birla. So the Lok Sabha Speaker Om Birla led an Indian parliamentary delegation at the 149th Assembly of the Inter-Parliamentary Union in Geneva, emphasizing multilateralism and innovation in his address. He titled his speech as Harnessing Science, Technology and Innovation for a More Peaceful and Sustainable Future. So India is talking a lot about science, technology, innovation, healthcare and all. Are we progressing too much in this direction? Well, if we are, that is good news. We should be doing that. Key highlights. He advocated for multilateralism. Birla highlighted the importance of equitable sharing. Equitable sharing means those who are more vulnerable should be given more. Those who are less vulnerable should be given less. Those who are affluent should be giving, not taking. So, equitable sharing and responsible use of technological advancements, highlighting India's progress in leveraging technology for public service delivery. A quote from Sri Om Birla: India has always been a strong proponent of multilateralism. Multilateralism means taking more and more countries along. If someone has the expertise, they can contribute with their expertise to those people who don't have it. Then only we will be able to make this world a better place to live in. The fruits of technological advancements must be shared equitably and leveraged responsibly. Birla called for enhanced dialogue and cooperation among the parliaments, asserting that collaborative efforts in science, technology, and innovation are vital for global development. He expressed hope that forums like IPU would facilitate inclusive development through shared action plans. Sabka Saath, Sabka Vishwas, Vishwamitra is being highlighted over here in his speech as well. Now, focus on climate change and energy security. He talked about this. He discussed India's renewable energy initiatives like the concept of One Sun, One World, One Grid, OSOWOG, proposed by Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Now, what does this concept mean? One Sun, One World, One Grid. So, there are some countries which are having surplus sunlight and they can harness that sunlight to generate solar power, solar energy. They can supply that solar energy for themselves domestically and the surplus energy can be supplied to other countries. But that will only be possible if the countries are connected with a grid. for electricity supply. That is the concept of one sun, one world, one grid. This will not only help the renewable energy production to increase, but it will be sustainable development, it will be a clean energy production, and most importantly it will benefit the underdeveloped and developing countries which are there in the tropics, particularly African countries, so that they can increase their incomes by selling that energy through one sun, one world, one grid initiative. He said that India's renewable energy capacity has increased from 76 gigawatt to 203 gigawatt over the last decade. That is almost 3 times the increase. Key initiatives mentioned by him: green hydrogen mission, where we tend to become the global hub for green hydrogen by 2030. International Solar Alliance, we initiated in 2015, headquartered in India. More than 100 countries are part of it right now. Aims to increase the capabilities of the member countries for solar power production. Global Biofuels Alliance, this was initiated last year in the G20 summit and aims to increase the production of biofuels like ethanol and all. Legislative actions and regulatory concerns. Birla highlighted that Indian Parliament has engaged in extensive discussions on climate change and sustainable development goals during the use of green technology in parliamentary constructions as well. So the current Indian Parliament, the new Parliament, is platinum rated building. Platinum rated building means it is extremely environment friendly. He pointed out that India has implemented special incentives for innovation and entrepreneurship under Startup India program, positioning India as the third largest startup nation globally with 118 unicorns valued at over USD $355 billion. But some regulatory concerns. He emphasized the need for an appropriate regulatory framework for technology. He urged discussions on data privacy, responsible AI use, and equitable sharing of technological benefits, which are not happening right now. So they need to happen. And who other than the legislative bodies or the parliaments of the world or of the countries can do something about it? Actually, they are the lawmaking bodies. Now about Inter-Parliamentary Union, it was established in the year 1889. So it is mentioned in the logo also. IPU is the first multilateral political organization aimed at promoting democracy and world peace. Membership comprises 180 national parliaments and 15 regional parliamentary bodies, fostering cooperation and dialogue among nations. Objective is promote democracy, strengthen parliamentary institutions, and defend the human rights of parliamentarians. This is what it focuses upon. Structure of IPU. There is this IPU assembly, principal body for expressing the views of IPU on political issues, bringing together parliamentarians to study international problems. Then there is this governing council, policy making body comprising representatives from member parliaments responsible for establishing IPU's annual program and budget. So governing council, since it is the policy making body, the law means policy and all will be made. So budget and all is also made by this only. Executive committee oversees administration and advises the governing council consisting of 17 members, including the IPU president. And last is standing committee assists the assembly in its work across various thematic areas. So this is the structure of IPU. UPSC is unpredictable, can ask from here as well. Now the MCQs. First is consider the following statements and mark the correct one. Mount Adams is the largest active volcano in the US. The last eruption of Mount Adams occurred in the 16th century. Which of these statements are true? Second, consider the following statements with respect to stratovolcanoes and mark the correct one. Stratovolcanoes are steep, tall, and cone shaped. They are having a more viscous lava flow. Most of the volcanoes in the Pacific Rim of Fire are stratovolcanoes. You have to find the correct combination which are right. Third, the headquarters of UNICEF Supply Division is located in Geneva, Munich, Nairobi, or New Delhi. Fourth, consider the following statements and mark the correct ones. India's renewable energy capacity has more than quadrupled in the last decade. The One Sun, One World, One Grid initiative proposed by India aims to supply excess renewable energy from a surplus region to a deficit region. Only one, only two, both one and two, neither one nor two. And the last question, which of these statements are true about Inter-Parliamentary Union? It was established in 1989 as a specialized agency of the United Nations. The Executive Committee of IPU is responsible for making the annual budget of IPU. Which of these statements are correct? Now the answers to yesterday's MCQs. Which of these countries was not part of Shanghai 5? So Shanghai 5, Russia, China, Kyrgyzstan, Kazakhstan and Tajikistan. So Kyrgyzstan was part of it, Kazakhstan was part of it, Tajikistan was part of it. So rest is Uzbekistan. Uzbekistan joined Shanghai 5 to form SCO in 2001. So C is going to be the correct answer. Uzbekistan was not part of Shanghai 5. Second, consider the following statements with respect to SCO and mark how many are correct. First statement, its aim is to counter the dominance of the West. No, its aim is not to counter the dominance of the West. It is just being projected by Russia and China now that this body is to counter the West. So this statement is wrong. India has been a founding member of SCO. No, India was not a founding member of SCO. India joined SCO in 2017. Iran and Belarus have joined SCO in 2023. Iran has joined in 2023, but Belarus has joined in 2024. So this statement is also wrong. So none of the statements are correct. Which of these countries is an observer member of SCO? This is a factual question, direct question. So Mongolia is the correct answer. Turkmenistan is neither a member nor not an observer member. Armenia, same. Azerbaijan, same. Neither member nor observer member. Fourth, which of the following initiatives are in line with fulfilling the goals under SDG 16 in India? Successful implementation of the POXO Act? Yes, it is. It ensures the child rights and prevents child or children from sexual harassment. Regular conduction of lok adalats and fast track courts? Yes. Timely justice delivery. Protection of rights of LGBT community? Yes, they are. So all of the above is going to be the correct answer for this particular question. So with this, we've come to an end of today's session. I will be seeing you tomorrow now with more such informative news pieces. Probably tomorrow we will be ending the thematic discussion of SDGs with SDG 17 being covered. That is it from today. Namaste. Jai Hind.